exercise, what are the 2 or 3 things that they need to get right to get the most out of their journey? And obviously people are different, but high level for 100%. The listeners that maybe are just getting motivated by hearing this from you, like what are the 2 or 3 things they need to keep in mind?
From a fitness perspective, I think it's dialing in exactly what it is you're looking to accomplish. If you're like, I'm just trying to lose this 20 pounds and look good naked like me and John were just talking about, I think that puts you, I think that puts you in a better range of going to an Orange Theory. Right? I believe in 2 kind of avatars of people who are looking to get, there's starter fitness. I'm looking to get started with fitness. I used to do it way back in the day, or I've never done it, but I need to get started. And then there's evolve my fitness. People who are currently doing some version of fitness and they want to take it to the next level. Those are really the only 2 avatars of prospects or clients in my brain. If you are listening to this and you were...
Where would you put me? Because I was 35 when I joined you, and I had become a fat fuck, and I had cured myself through a paleo diet.
Yeah, I would say you were in starter fitness.
And I wanted... But I had worked out all along, but I wanted to get, I really wanted to push it forward.
If you had been still going to the YMCA and doing some bicep curls and bench pressing, and you were still
That's what I was doing, maybe an insanity workout every now and again. But I'd become fat fuck because I lost my metabolism at 35.
Then I would still put you in evolve my fitness, because the conversation I have to have with you is, here's what you're doing now. Let's call that the VCR, right? That's the DVD. And then here's what we've got. This is fucking Netflix 4K streaming. Okay? And I just had to show you that we were going to evolve your fitness. Versus starter fitness, I need to make sure that intimidation stays very low during your first day experience and success stays very high. Okay. The worst thing you see what happened with a lot of these guys, if you ever go to a CrossFit gym, this happens to you, I want you to give me a call, give me the name of the gym so I can publicly shame them. But the worst thing that ever happens in a CrossFit gym is when someone first comes in for a class and the coach is like, I'm going to scale this workout for you. Here's a barbell with X amount of weight on it, or here's the med ball, or here's the kettlebell. And then halfway during the workout, that coach has to go, ooh, you know what, let's take some of those weights off. Let's get you a lighter med ball. The reason that person didn't walk into your gym 6 months ago, it's not that they didn't know you exist. They know fully well you exist. They were scared that this exact scenario would play out. I'm not fit enough to do the thing. So I coach my guys here.
Yeah, they're not coming back.
No, I mean, and no, some people feed off that.
Like, some do. Some do.
Like Jocko Willink kind of guys are going to fucking feed off that thing. Most people, that's going to be like, this is why I didn't come in here. That's a very embarrassing moment. So what I
and I think more so for women than men, probably.
Probably, yeah. But there are some guys that have egos like crazy. Like you do that to them, and they're not going to come back because now they're pissed. You made me look like a pussy.
Yeah.
So I tell my guys, build them up. That's what I've really prided myself is always, I don't give a fuck about your, like, you're here for workout, guess what? The sweat towels I offer, those are optional, motherfucker. The coaching isn't.
Yeah, no, it's funny because whenever a coach corrects me, and I've been at the gym for a long time and know everybody there, and when they correct me, they're almost apologetic. So I make sure that I thank them every single 100%. Time. Like, thank you so much, I appreciate it.
You're so intimidated to do it. And again, I think that comes down to there are a lot of coaches, and I'm not speaking of any of the guys over because I know the guys over at Sex, but there's a lot of coaches that don't feel very confident in what they know.
Sure.
I am such an unhealthy level of cocky, like confident in what I know fitness-wise, that I have no problem walking in. You can tell me he's a fucking cardiac surgeon who went to school, and I'll be like, I don't give a shit. I'm going to let him know that his fucking hip needs to get below the knee, blah, 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 and I've got no problem doing it. And I think having that confidence in coaches and the owners spitting that confidence down onto their staff really helps.
Yep. Now this is one, you had a great chalkboard in the bathroom at CrossFit South End. It showed the inverse relationship between how good you look naked and how much shit you stuff in your face.
Yeah, I remember that. That's funny.
Can you talk about a little bit about the relationship of diet to exercise?
We generally see the beginner gains. Most people who get into a really good fitness program, 6 months, sometimes 12 months, depending on the individual, they're just seeing gains, results, this, I feel better, I look better, and then eventually it comes to a halt because you cannot out-train the fork. I also think the reason why is because there are a lot of people like, hey, you're going to be so proud of me, I made this awesome fitness change. I'm like, oh man, you look great. Like, what are you doing? I'm working out. That's 1 hour of the day. That's 4% of the week if you're working out 3 times a week, right?
And then you're fucking stuffing your face with cheese fries.
You haven't really made a change. You just decided to put yourself in a level of discomfort for an hour that makes you feel like you did. Now, Matt Dangler, I don't know if you know him, he's local here in Charlotte. He was RXRD. He's a local dietitian, and he works with a lot of CrossFit gyms in the area. I'm pretty sure Stacks has had him over to do a seminar.
Maybe I have met him over there now.
Good dude. He also works out at South Charlotte CrossFit. Awesome guy. He's from Rochester. Me and Matt will talk because he does all of our work over here. And it's really interesting because I tease Matt. I'm like, Matt, your job is always going to suck to people. Like, I'm the fitness delivery guy. This is sexy. This is fun. There's sports bras. There's pull-ups. There's barbells.
Sweat.
There's nothing sexy and fun about eating a carrot, Matt. You suck. Like, and we
joke. My kale salad is
exactly.
delicious.
Yeah. Like, we go back and forth. But the people that take nutrition very seriously reap the rewards for it. They look better naked. They perform better. It's just a lot of people don't want to be that douche. They don't want to be the guy at work when everyone's going to TGI Fridays for lunch and getting burgers, and they're asking if they can get theirs in a lettuce wrap because they feel awkward.
I did a 73-hour fast earlier this week, and you should have seen the looks I got from one of my clients. They asked me to go grab cocktails. They asked me to go grab lunch. And I'm like, no, I'm fasting. Like, motherfucker, are you religious? What is this?
Exactly. Yeah. So Ramadan. Yeah, exactly. So what's really interesting too is the clients are the people that have that fucking in their system. They just don't care. Like, when I walk around with that vlogging camera and I'm walking through the grocery store and I'm doing this, like, the amount of, like, fuck it you have to have in your system to make, like, that people all think you're a huge douchebag for filming yourself in the grocery store or wherever I'm at, you just have to have it. And when you get to that place where you truly do not care what other people think, like, literally it doesn't even matter. Like, I don't care what my wife thinks of me. I don't care what my mom thinks of me. I don't care what my sister, Isaac, nobody. And when you get to that place, it allows you to do a lot of shit you truly want to do.
People who do give a fuck might not like people who don't give a fuck, but you're going to work for one of them one day.
Oh, 100%. And I'll tell you this right now, even the people that talk some shit, you inspire the fuck out of them. And they're envious of what your level of dedication. And they might sit there drinking their cocktail like, fucking pussy's not having any drinks with us. But, like, I guarantee you, they're going to go home a little depressed at the end of the night thinking, man, I wish I could have fucking done that. You know? So it's, the nutrition is the part, I think, the real divider. And I'm not a huge, like, again, there's health benefits, there's genetic benefits. I'm an ectomorph. There's ecto, meso, and endo.
So you need a high carb diet.
Correct. Yeah. So Chipotle for me, like I was talking about 5 days a week, or Quick Trip. I eat Quick Trip breakfast bowls, probably 6 days a week. I do Project Lean Nation, right? So, I mean, I eat a lot, even though I only work out 3 days a week, just to maintain this, and my body fat's never probably going to go above 12%.
That's awesome.
And it's a genetic thing, which is great, good, grand. But no, I find that I eat healthier now as I get older. It's because of work. I have a higher output at work. I get up I start working at 3 a.m. in the morning. I'm in bed by 10, and that's my daily thing now. Yeah. And I need good fuel to make my business grind.
So have you done this Oura Ring thing? Yeah, no. It's a fitness ring, and it's really geared towards tracking your sleep.
Really?
And so it gives you, at the beginning of every day, I log onto the app and I pull it up, and it shows me how well I slept, the stages of sleep.
Do you hit like REM and all that kind of stuff?
It does REM, deep sleep, it does your heart rate variability.
HRV is really interesting
HRV,
stuff.
And it gives you a score. And honestly, Stu, the days that it tells me not to work out, I don't work out anymore because it's so intelligent.
Yeah.
I live by this thing, but it's interesting because it starts telling you when to go to bed.
That's yeah.
Like it just learns your patterns and says you need to go to bed by 8:45 tonight.
That is dope. Yeah, I'm definitely have to look into that.
Yeah, I'll put for folks listening. I'll put the Oura Ring link in the show notes as well.
Yeah.
So very cool. Well, so the one interesting thing that I've noticed is for whatever reason, in the popular imagination, paleo and CrossFit are associated with each other, but my experience has been almost nobody actually follows a paleo diet.
Sure.
And I do. I've been religious for 5 years about it, but most people don't. Why do you think the association exists, and why is it because it tends to turn into a low carb diet, and that's just hard for people?
So you got to turn back the history pages. So this is being around from 06 in the CrossFit. So back in the day, the Zone Diet, which is written by Barry Sears, Dr. Barry Sears wrote the Zone Diet, and the Zone Diet had blocks. So protein, carbs, and fats are worth certain blocks, and then certain foods are worth blocks, and there was this kind of conversion process, but it allowed for starchy carbs, allowed for whatever, but in certain quantities. And then comes Rob Wolf. Rob Wolf is like one of the biggest, like Mark Sisson in the Daily
Those
Apple.
were the 2 books that I read that got me on my journey.
So Mark's
very
Daily Apple.
Very interesting guys.
And it's very interesting. Mark and Rob Wolf became, back in the day, very, early YouTube, early all that stuff, became the content creators on their websites and blogs about the paleo diet, low carb, which the paleo diet becomes more of a ketogenic diet, is what essentially it becomes. And then Rob Wolf really got into IF, intermittent fasting, which we all intermittent fast, every single day while we sleep. Every day we intermittent fast.
They're just pushing breakfast back to lunch.
Correct. Yeah. Now, there was a fallout. It was called the Black Box Summit in 2009 or 2008. So you had Rob Wolf, you had Greg Everett, who was heading up all the Olympic weightlifting.
So you probably didn't have Dave Asprey at this point.
No,
he came along a little later.
No. These are all the guys that were the CrossFit SMEs, the subject matter experts. And there was this event. Dave Castro ends up getting into a shouting match with all these other guys that were the current SMEs, and they all kind of went their own direction. And it was this big breakup called the Black Box Summit. It was the last time they ever had it. And Rob Wolf kind of left CrossFit and went his route.
Okay.
But his popularity at paleo, because he published the Paleo Solution, got very, very popular. The zone diet, the hardest thing for them, CrossFit still pushes it. Like, they still talk about it. But the conversions, it's kind of like Weight Watchers. The conversions were just too much work, like for these blocks they had for your different macros of protein, carbs, and fat. So I think the paleo diet was simple. There was no measuring, what we call WHAM, weigh and measure. There was none of that. It was just meats, veggies, nuts and seeds, some fruit, little starch, and sugar. And it was very easy. Like, even the nutritional seminar that I gave once a month, every month for 5+ years at CrossFit Southland before I brought in the dietitian. Hey Stu, what should I have for breakfast? Meats, veggies, nuts and seeds, some fruit, little starch, and sugar. Well, but what about a workout? Meats, veggies, nuts and seeds, some fruit, little starch, and sugar. Like, it was very easy to follow. But then the problem with paleo is that because there was no quantity measurements to it, people were like, well, you said nuts, I'm gonna eat an entire box of almonds.
Yeah.
And then they're so calorically
or worse,
dense.
Macadamias, which are delicious, and
but you're super calorically
quickly
dense.
get to 1,500 calories. Yeah.
So there is faults on both sides, but I think paleo, because it was very, Paleolithic, caveman, and CrossFit was very raw. Yeah. I think it just went together really well. And it is. I do think it's a great starting point that you can get a lot of people to start dieting with. The only problem is the zone is probably best, because the zone will at least take the starchy carbs people already eat and just make it less. Like,
sure.
If John Espy is on a diet of nothing but Budweiser and Big Macs, I can help you lose weight just by cutting down the amount of Budweiser and Big Macs that you eat, just by changing quantity.
Just pure caloric restriction.
100%. I can just change quantity. Paleo is 100% talking about changing quality.
Yeah. And then it gets into changing hormones and the things that cause hunger.
Correct. But at the superficial level that 99% of people are looking at, it's just getting you to eat higher quality foods. Now for dudes, so that means I can just take a bunch of wings, grill them on and make a really nice paleo ranch kind of substitute or whatever, ranch rub or something like that, and I can eat that? Yes. Yeah. And you're like, fuck yeah, I'm down with paleo. I think dudes gravitate to it a lot more because of the meat and vegetable kind of scenario that is very...
It embraces bacon as long as it's sulfite free.
Yeah, exactly.
Or nitrite free.
So I think that's why it was. It was just a very simple prescription versus what CrossFit really wanted to push, which was the zone diet.
Yeah. Very interesting. Thank you for that. I've always wondered, because again, the two
put into Google, you'll love this, because you're a historian of this stuff. Put in the Black Box Summit CrossFit and just read the shit show threads that are out there.
I will look that up and I will put that in the show notes as well. But now, along the same theme, how do you rank sleep, stress management, nutrition?